Here it is, my top 10 movies of 2018. So this was a great year for film in my opinion. Trying to narrow down my favorite movies into a list of 10 was very difficult to do, and I hope that you enjoy what I'm about to say. And hopefully this goes without saying, but this is a list based off of my opinions. This is not fact, even though Obama did choose 4 of these movies, plus one of my honorable mentions, and put them on his list as well. There are several movies on this list I did do full reviews on, so if you want to go to my channel and check those out, feel free to. But let's just jump right into it because we have a lot of movies to talk about. So number 10 goes to a movie which I think is probably one of, I'm actually going to say, the most rewatchable movie on this list, and that movie is Searching. Now, when I say you can rewatch this movie again and again, it's not just one of those movies where it's like, oh yeah, you can rewatch it a lot. But there are so many details in this movie that you are just not going to catch the first time. There's actually supposedly a whole subplot going on in the background, and if you watch the movie only focusing on those characters, you notice a whole different story. I haven't watched the movie in depth that much yet, but thank God for the detectives of Reddit, because they work hard figuring that stuff out. I do have a full review of this movie, so if you want, you can check that out, but I would encourage you, go watch this movie several times. Number 9. So this movie might be a little controversial, not necessarily because it's on my list, but the placement of it on my list. I feel like people are either going to disagree that it's on this list or disagree and say I should put it a lot higher. But it is Avengers Infinity War. So this movie was fantastic. It did so many incredible things. The idea alone of taking 20 movies of essentially backstory and putting it all into this epic, it's something that I never thought we would ever see on the big screen. Not only did they pull it off, but they went in a direction with it that I didn't think any superhero movie would do, let alone a Disney movie would do. It completely blew me away. Now, is it the best Marvel movie ever? I don't necessarily think so. Is it even the best superhero movie of the year? I guess you'll have to keep watching to find out. Number 8. So going from a movie that pretty much I think everyone saw to a movie that probably not many people have seen, maybe even heard of, that is First Reformed. I actually didn't even see this movie until 2 weeks ago, and I'm really upset it took that long since it was released in May. But this movie is so powerful. It tells the story of a pastor of a very small church. Sunday morning service is about 6 people in attendance. Yet it's this historic church that many people take tours of, and it's kind of known as a souvenir shop rather than an actual church. Ethan Hawke plays this pastor where he's struggling with his faith when it comes to political issues, when it comes to his relationship with this pastor at a megachurch. It's a rather slow watch, but the acting is incredible, the script is amazing, and it is very thought-provoking. I have no doubt that if this movie came out later in the year, there would be so much Oscar buzz around Ethan Hawke. Now, there very well still could be. I just think it's a shame that more people aren't talking about this movie. Number 7. Either you didn't understand this movie, or you pretended like you did, which is what I did. Annihilation. Annihilation was everything that I wanted in a sci-fi. It deals with the subject of biology and human evolution, and almost turns it into a horror movie. It's the perfect mix of this thrilling adventure, mixed in with mystery. The acting was very well done. It's left with this ambiguous ending, which I think is where people are most divided on whether or not they liked it. I, however, love the conversation that came from it, discussing what it actually meant. Now, seeing this in theaters was probably one of my top movie experiences this year. And that's all due to the sound design that came behind it. The mixing was incredible. There's one point where the sound is so loud that it's almost overbearing to even listen to. But it all fits so well to what the story is saying, and it is a powerful experience. Number 6. So not only is this my favorite animated movie of the year, but it is my favorite superhero movie of the year, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When I first saw this trailer, I had no idea what to expect. I thought for sure this was a failure because it was such a bold idea, but it just blew away all my expectations. The animation in this movie is incredible, and it's so creative, and we are seeing things that have never been done on the big screen. The voice acting in this movie is incredible, and each character has their own sense of humor and even style to the animation, and it is amazing seeing them all come together. And not only all that, but this movie has a lot of heart, and the story that it tells is so compelling and one worth seeing. I look forward to watching this movie over and over again, and so should you. Number 5. This goes to my favorite documentary, a movie that, again, probably not enough people have seen. That is Minding the Gap. This is another one I have a full review on, so you can hear my entire thoughts on the movie there. But this movie is so inspirational. The director of this movie started filming years ago when all of his friends were just a bunch of skateboarders. It follows them through kind of young adulthood. Many of them go through life changes, including new relationships, going away to school, finding new jobs. But the core of this movie is what kind of connects them all, and that's this hidden issue that I don't want to spoil spoiled, but you just need to watch it for yourself. Because once they discover this issue, it kind of turns into this larger discussion of what are the issues that we are hiding from the people that are closest to us. This movie is so vulnerable in the way that it asks these deep questions. And honestly, this is one of the few times that I actually cried during a movie this year. The best part is that it is exclusively streaming on Hulu, so if you have Hulu, you can watch it right now, and you should. Number 4, who knew that I would have had a romantic comedy so high on this list? And that is Crazy Rich Asians. I love this movie. Everything about it is so delightful to watch. First off, it's hilarious. Second, even though it follows a lot of the tropes that we've seen in rom-coms before, it still finds ways to make them unique, and it kind of embraces that. It acknowledges what it's trying to do and doesn't kind of hide from it and doesn't make it too cheesy. It makes it this realistic story, one that you're compelled to keep watching. Now again, you can watch my full review to see exactly what I mean by all of this. The most powerful part to me is seeing this culture, seeing these people who are Asian American, and hearing their story be told. Seeing these people who are Asian American, the relationship between the two, and seeing it so well defined within a movie. I already got the Blu-ray, so I know I'll be giving it a rewatch. Hopefully you will too. Number 3. This goes out to another very bold movie this year. That movie is BlacKkKlansman. BlacKkKlansman pulled so many emotions from me. At the beginning, it's really funny, and throughout the movie, it continues that style of humor. But the more you watch, the more you realize that this dark humor is a really sad reality that we live in. As the events of this movie unfold, you kind of realize, like, yeah, a lot has changed since the 70s, but there are still a lot of strong, not so subtle hints of racism in this country. I saw this movie twice in theaters, and that last shot of this movie, I have never witnessed so much silence in a theater, except for probably another movie that I'm going to be mentioning later. Go watch this movie, and after, go watch my full review on it. Number 2. This movie was a no-brainer to add to my list the second I saw it. Mission Impossible Fallout. This franchise is incredible, not only because they're great movies, because they consistently get better. Now, I know there's very strong debate on which is the best Mission Impossible, but it usually falls on either 4, 5, or 6, which means that the series has gotten continually better as it goes on, which never happens. Now, this one is my favorite one of the series, but who can say that the 6th movie of a franchise is the best one? This movie has everything. First, the stunts are incredible. The action is so well choreographed, and we are seeing things that we have never seen done in film before. And not only that, but the script is sound. The dialogue is so tight, and it will keep you on the edge of your seat the entire time trying to track what's happening. Once again, full review, go check it out. But seriously, so much about this movie I absolutely love. Okay, before we get to my number 1 pick, I need to throw out a couple honorable mentions. It might be more than a couple because, again, there were so many good movies that I wanted to add to this list. First honorable mention, Won't You Be My Neighbor, a great documentary on the life of Mr. Rogers. It's a tearjerker, but one that every American needs to see. A Quiet Place, one of the best horror movies of this year. Outstanding performances from John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, taking on such an original idea that leads to so much entertainment from the audience. Game Night, which was one of the funniest movies I've seen this year. The cast is so stacked, and the jokes are so funny. Any other year, this would be very hard to keep it off the top 10. And finally, Bumblebee. Now, I think they should have waited maybe a couple of years to get the bad taste of the other Transformers movies out of our mouth, but I loved this movie. This felt more like a Transformers movie than any other Transformers movie I've seen. It's got so much heart, you care so much for the characters, and while I am worried that them making more sequels off of this could ruin it, this is another one that just barely missed my top 10. Alright, the number 1 movie of 2018. If you keep up with this channel, or know me at all, you probably know it's 8th grade. Bo Burnham is already one of my favorite people ever. And so the fact that his directorial debut was such a hit is just the icing on the cake for him. This movie is awkward. This movie is funny. This movie will take you back to a time when you were in 8th grade, unless you're still really that awkward. Elsie Fisher is definitely the breakout performance of this movie, and honestly probably the whole year. She was nominated for a Golden Globe, and I hope that carries over to an Oscar nomination, because as much critical acclaim that this movie has gotten, it still deserves more. It's heartfelt, emotional, a must-see for 2018, and that is why it is my number 1 pick of the year. So there you have it. My top 10 movies of 2018. What do you think? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? What did I miss that should have been on this list? As always, if you like what you see, you can subscribe for more content like this. Leave a like, comment below, and I will see you next time when I will be discussing my top most anticipated movies of 2019.